2 weeks earlier, I'm hunched over my desk at the law firm, the clock ticking past midnight. The office is a tomb, dim lights, stale coffee, and the hum of a printer somewhere down the hall. Papers spill across my desk, a messy fortress of contracts and deeds, but my mind's elsewhere, replaying James's vague excuses about late nights at the office. I should have seen it then, the cracks in his stories, but love blinds you, even when you're paid to spot lies. The door creaks open, and my colleague Sarah hesitates in the frame, her face tight with something she doesn't want to say. "Victoria," she starts, voice low, "I think there's something you should see." She steps forward, sliding a single sheet across my desk, and the world tilts. It's a property transfer document, crisp and official, James to Lauren Hayes, our dream house, $1, dated 3 days ago. The numbers blur, my pulse hammering in my ears, and for a moment, I can't breathe. The floor drops out, leaving me suspended in a void of shock and rage. Sarah lingers, awkward, muttering, "I found it in the county records. I'm so sorry." I nod, barely hearing her, and she slips out, leaving me alone with the betrayal, staring up at me in black ink. I sit there, frozen, the paper trembling in my hands. 3 days ago, James was kissing me goodbye, promising to handle the final construction invoices. 3 days ago, I was still his wife, not this discarded thing he'd traded for a girl half my age. The house flashes in my mind, those wooden beams we'd picked out together, the porch we'd sketched on napkins over wine, and now it's hers, Lauren's, for $1. Shock coils into something darker, heavier, but I don't crumble. I'm a lawyer, damn it. I fight with paper and ink, and if James thinks he can bury me in my own field, he's about to learn how wrong he is. I shove the chair back, the scrape loud in the silence, and grab my keys. The drive home is a blur, city lights smearing past like tears I won't let fall. Our apartment's dark when I get there, James still at work, and I head straight for the kitchen. He'd left a stack of construction files on the counter weeks ago, insisting he'd sort them later. I'd trusted him, let him handle it all while I billed hours at the firm. Now, that trust is a knife in my gut, and I'm done bleeding. I tear into the papers, receipts, and permits scattering across the table, my hands steady despite the storm inside me. 48 hours later, I'm still at it, fueled by coffee and fury, the apartment a war zone of documents. My eyes burn, but I don't stop. Not when I find the deed, buried under a pile of lumber invoices, and not when I spot the clause that changes everything. It's a standard restriction in our county for custom builds. If the property's sold below market value within 5 years, it triggers an automatic review by the assessor's office. I read it again, slower, the words sinking in. Our house, appraised at $2.8 million, sold for $1. The county will reassess it at current market value, and the difference, nearly the full amount, becomes a tax bill payable by the seller. James. A grim smile tugs at my lips, the first real feeling since Sarah's bombshell. He thought he'd outsmarted me, slipped this past me in my own game, but he forgot who I am. I'm Victoria Williams, the woman who's closed million-dollar deals, who's caught finer print than this, in contracts thicker than his ego. The tax bill will be astronomical, hundreds of thousands, maybe $1 million, and it'll land square on him, not Lauren, because he's the one who signed the transfer. He didn't just betray me, he got sloppy. And that's his mistake. I lean back, the chair creaking under me, and stare at the ceiling. The clause isn't just a penalty, it's a weapon, one he handed me without even knowing. He'd insisted on managing the build, putting everything in his name to keep it simple, and I'd agreed. Too busy, too trusting. Now, that arrogance is a noose around his neck, and I'm the one holding the rope. My phone sits silent on the table, no texts from him, no excuses yet. He doesn't know I know, doesn't know I've found the crack in his perfect little plan. I pull the deed closer, tracing the lines with my finger, the paper cool against my skin. It's all there, recorded, binding, and inescapable. James wanted to play this game, to take everything we'd built and toss it to Lauren like a cheap trinket. Fine. Let him play. But I'm not the wife he leaves behind anymore. I'm the attorney who knows every rule, every loophole, and I'm just getting started. He forgot who I am, and that's going to cost him more than he can imagine. Back in the present, my office feels like a command center, the desk littered with papers and coffee cups, the glow of my laptop casting shadows on the walls. It's midday, March 19th, 2025, and James's smugness is about to crack wide open. The county assessor's website blinks with a new notice, a review triggered by his $1 sale just as I'd planned. My phone buzzes on the desk, his name flashing across the screen in frantic texts. What did you do? I let it buzz, unanswered, and lean back in my chair, savoring the shift. He's not the only one who can play games, and I'm better at this one. I'd spent the morning filing papers, an emergency injunction to freeze his accounts, a claim for division of marital assets, all built on the evidence I'd unearthed. The deed restriction was just the start. Last night, digging deeper, I'd found bank statements in those construction files, buried under blueprints, like he thought I'd never look. He'd been siphoning money from our joint account for months, trickling it into a separate one in his name, preparing his exit. Every transfer, every penny spent on that house, ties back to our marital assets. In this state, that's my half, deed or no deed, and he's about to learn that the hard way. The phone buzzes again, a string of messages piling up. Answer me, Vic. What fine print? I smirk, a dry little twist of my lips, and set it aside. Let him stew. I pull up the assessor's notice again, the details crisp on the screen. $2.8 million market value, $1 sale price, reassessment pending. The tax bill will hit him like a freight train, and I've got front row seats. But it's not just the house. Those bank statements show he moved $3.2 million over the past year, every transaction documented, sloppy as a rookie's first contract. He thought he could hide it, thought I'd stay the trusting wife while he built his new life with Lauren. He was wrong. I'm still savoring that thought when my assistant knocks, poking her head in. James is here, she says, voice tight. He's in the lobby, pacing like a caged animal. I nod, straightening my jacket. Send him up. She disappears, and I take a breath, steadying myself. This isn't the confrontation I'd planned. Not yet. But I'm ready. The elevator dings, and there he is, storming in, his face flushed, eyes wild. The smugness is gone, replaced by a desperation that almost makes me pity him. Almost. The tax bill's $980,000, he snaps, slamming a hand on my desk, papers fluttering. You have to fix this, Vic. Release the restriction, please. I'll lose everything. He's close enough that I can smell his cologne, the same one I'd bought him last Christmas. And it twists something in my chest. But I don't flinch, don't soften. I lean back, crossing my arms, and meet his gaze with a calm he doesn't deserve. You lost everything the moment you gave our house to her, I say, voice low, cutting. This is just the consequence, James. You made the choice. I didn't. His jaw tightens, and he steps back, running a hand through his hair, pacing now like he can outrun the mess he's made. I'll contest it, he threatens, spinning to face me. I'll say I didn't know about the clause. His voice cracks, a desperate edge creeping in, and I can't help it. A short, sharp laugh escapes me, dry as dust. Go ahead, I reply, tilting my head. Tell that to a judge. Explain selling a $2.8 million house for $1 without reading the deed. Good luck with that. His face pales, the reality sinking in, and I press on, relentless. You're a businessman, James. Everyone will expect you to have read what you signed. But please, try it. I'd love to see how that goes over. He stares at me, mouth working, no words coming out. The silence stretches, thick and heavy, until he finally mutters, "You're enjoying this, aren't you?" There's a flicker of the old James in his eyes, the one who'd charmed me 12 years ago, but it's gone fast, drowned in his panic. "Not as much as you enjoyed screwing me over," I say, standing now, matching his height. "You wanted to play this game? Well, here we are." I nod toward the door. "You should go. I've got work to do." He hesitates, then grabs his bag and storms out, the door banging shut behind him. I sink back into my chair, adrenaline buzzing under my skin, and check my phone. 5 more texts, each one more frantic than the last. I drive home that evening, the city fading into dusk, lights flickering on like stars I can't wish on anymore. The apartment's quiet when I step inside, a sanctuary I'd insisted on keeping despite James's push to sell. Now I'm glad I held firm. Some instinct, some whisper of doubt had kept me tethered here. I drop my bag, pour a glass of water, and sit at the kitchen table, the bank statement spread out before me like a map of his betrayal. Every line is a step he took away from me, every dollar a brick in the wall he built with Lauren. My phone buzzes again. James. "The bank's threatening to freeze my accounts. What did you do?" I set it face down, ignoring the ping of another message. The injunctions already in motion, the judge's signature fresh from this morning. He'll find out soon enough, when the funds he thought he'd hidden stop moving. I trace a finger over the statements, the numbers cold and final. He underestimated me, thought I'd roll over while he handed our life to someone else. But I'm not that woman. Not anymore. The counter-strike's begun, and James doesn't even know how deep he's in yet. The next morning, I'm back in my office, sunlight streaming through the blinds, casting stripes across the chaos of papers on my desk. The adrenaline from yesterday's clash with James still hums in my veins, but I'm focused, calm, a general mid-battle. The county assessor's review is locked in, the injunctions holding his accounts, and my claim for marital assets is filed. Everything's moving like clockwork. I'm sipping coffee, black and bitter, when my phone rings, an unknown number flashing on the screen. I hesitate, then answer, expecting another of James's pleas. Instead, a shaky voice spills out, young and frayed. "Miss Williams? It's Lauren. Lauren Hayes. I need to talk to you about the house." I set the mug down, the warmth seeping into my palm, and lean back in my chair. Lauren, his Lauren, the girl he'd traded me for, sounds like she's unraveling, not the triumphant mistress I'd pictured. "You mean your house," I say, keeping my tone even, professional, the lawyer in me taking over. "The one you bought for $1. There's a pause, a soft hitch in her breathing, and I can almost see her, wide-eyed and out of her depth, clutching the phone like a lifeline. "I didn't know," she says quickly, words tumbling over each other. "About the tax thing. James never told me. I can't afford it. The property taxes, the bank won't give me a loan." Her voice cracks, and I feel an unexpected tug. Not pity exactly, but something close. She's collateral damage, not the mastermind, caught in the wreckage of James's plan. I let her words settle, picturing the house, our house, looming over her, a prize-turned prison. "Because you have no equity in it," I finish for her, matter of fact. "Since you only paid $1. She doesn't respond, but I hear her breathing, fast and shallow, and I know she's nodding on the other end, piecing it together, too late. I glance at the assessor's notice on my screen, the tax bill's shadow growing larger by the day. "Sell it," I say finally, firm but not unkind. "That's your best option. Pay the taxes, take what's left, and run. James's anger isn't your problem anymore." There's a long silence, then she speaks, softer now, hesitant. "He said he put it in my name so you couldn't take it back." The confession hangs there, raw and unguarded, and I feel a flicker of triumph, sharp and cold. So that was his game, not just to give her the house, but to shield it from me, to lock me out of what we'd built. I almost laugh, the irony too rich, but I hold it back, keeping my voice steady. I don't want it, I tell her, leaning forward now, elbows on the desk. I want what's fair, Lauren, and right now you're caught in the middle of something that's about to get very messy. Sell the house, pay the taxes, and move on with your life. I pause, letting that sink in, then add, get out now, while you still can. It's advice, yes, but also a warning. She's a pawn in his scheme, and pawns don't last long when the board shifts. She's quiet again, and I wonder if she's crying, if she's regretting the affair, or just the fallout. Please, she says at last, her voice breaking. I don't know what to do. David says his accounts are frozen, and I don't have that kind of money, I'm cheating. The desperation in her tone mirrors James's from yesterday, and I see it now. They're both sinking, flailing in the trap he set. I think of her, 25, barely older than my niece, tangled up with a man who didn't care what happened to her as long as he won. Then sell, I repeat, firmer this time, cutting through her panic. The property taxes are due in 30 days. If you list it now, you can use the proceeds to cover them and walk away with something. James used you as a shield, Lauren, and it backfired. Don't let him drag you down with him. I hear her breath catch, a small sound, and then a murmured, okay, fragile but resolute. She hangs up, the line going dead, and I sit there, staring at the phone, the weight of the call settling over me. I turn back to my laptop, pulling up the county records. The deed transfer to Lauren's name is official, recorded, her responsibility now. She's in over her head, but she's not my enemy. James is, and every move she makes pulls his plan apart a little more. I smile, a tight, controlled thing, and sip my coffee again. The house was his gambit, his way to hurt me. But I'm dismantling it, piece by piece, and even Lauren sees the trap he laid. The board's shifting, and I'm the one moving the pieces now. A week later, the legal avalanche crashes down, and I'm at the eye of the storm, watching it bury James inch by inch. My office is a fortress of files, the air thick with the scent of ink and victory as I review the latest court filings. His attorney, a slick, expensive type named Grayson, tried to argue the deed restriction was unconscionable, some desperate Hail Mary to dodge the tax bill. The judge didn't blink, shutting it down with a single line. It's standard in this county, and he signed it. I picture James in that courtroom, his jaw tight, his confidence crumbling, and I feel a surge of triumph, steady and sure, like a heartbeat I'd forgotten I had. The assessor's review finalized yesterday, the official tax bill landing at $980,000, due immediately. It's a number that would have gutted me once, back when we meant something, but now it's his alone, a noose he tied himself. I'd known it was coming, planned for it since that night in the apartment, but seeing it in black and white on the county website still sends a shiver down my spine. Not fear, not anymore, just the thrill of watching him fall. My phone's been buzzing nonstop, his texts piling up like debris. You've destroyed everything I built. I don't reply. He did this to himself, and I'm done carrying his weight. Lauren's call comes that afternoon, her voice steadier now, less broken. I'm selling the house, she says, no preamble, no tears. I have a buyer, market value $2.9 million. I just wanted you to know. I lean back in my chair, the leather creaking under me, and nod to myself, the pieces clicking into place. She took my advice, cut her losses, and I can't help but respect it. A flicker of something like admiration for the girl who'd stumbled into this mess. That's a smart decision, I tell her, keeping it simple, professional. James is furious, she continues, a bitter laugh threading through her words. He says I'm betraying him, that I owe him loyalty after everything he did for me. She pauses, then adds, as if putting me in this position was doing me a favor. I hear the shift in her, the dawning clarity, and it mirrors my own from weeks ago. She's not just escaping, she's waking up, seeing him for what he is. I feel an unexpected pang, not for him, but for her, caught in his web until it snapped. You don't owe him anything, I say, my tone firm, cutting through her doubt. He used you to try to hurt me, Lauren, and he didn't care what happened to you in the process. Take the money and go. She murmurs a quiet, thanks, and hangs up, leaving me with the hum of the office and the weight of her words. The house sells 2 weeks later, the proceeds covering the property taxes, with enough left for her to vanish. Rumor has it, back to her hometown in Colorado. Good for her. James, though, is sinking fast. The tax bill wipes out his liquid assets, forcing him to scramble, but the divorce proceedings hit harder. Daniel Carter, my forensic accountant, walks into my office that evening, a thick folder under his arm, his grin sharp as a blade. He's terrible at this, he says, spreading documents across my desk, bank statements, transfer records, investment accounts. Moved $3.2 million over months, all through your joint account, thinking it'd muddy the trail. Instead, it's a neon sign. I scan the numbers, each one a breadcrumb of his betrayal, and my chest tightens. Not with pain now, but power. Premeditated fraud, Daniel adds, gathering the papers. Most of it's after he started with Lauren, makes our case airtight. I thank him, walking him out. And when I return, my phone lights up again. James. I never thought you'd fight back like this. I leave it unanswered, the words glowing in the dim light. He's right. He didn't think, didn't see me coming, and that's why he's losing everything. The judge grants my asset division claim the next day, every hidden dollar dragged into the open, his reputation in the business community, once untouchable, now a punchline. I'm at my apartment that night, the city sprawling beyond the window, lights flickering like a promise I'm finally claiming. The settlement papers sit on the table, a fair split of what he tried to steal, and I pour a glass of wine, the red catching the glow of the lamp. My phone buzzes once more. James. The bank's seizing what's left. You've ruined me. I sip the wine, letting the silence stretch, and set the phone aside. Ruined? No, he built this collapse brick by brick. Lauren, the house, the money, and I just pulled the right thread. The weeks blur into court dates and signatures, his attorney flailing against the paper trail he left. Grayson tries one last angle, claiming James was coerced, but the judge sees through it, the evidence too clear, too damning. By the end, James is a shadow of the man I married, his charm replaced by desperation, his wealth gutted. I stand in my kitchen, the settlement finalized, and feel the sting of betrayal fading, not gone, but smaller, a scar I can live with. He underestimated me, thought I'd break, but I didn't. I fought, and I won. 6 months later, I sit in my new office, the corner suite I earned as partner at the firm, the city sprawling beyond the floor-to-ceiling windows. The skyline glitters in the evening light, a mosaic of steel and glass that feels like a fresh start, not a battlefield anymore. The settlement's finalized, half of everything James tried to hide, split down the middle by a judge who saw through his lies. It's more than money, it's justice, hard-won and mine. The dream house is gone, sold to a family with kids who'll fill it with laughter, not ghosts, and I'm glad for that. A quiet relief settling over me like dusk. My desk is neat now, no more chaos of files, just a stack of case briefs and a glass of wine, the red, catching the glow of my desk lamp. I sip it slowly, savoring the stillness, the way the hurt lingers but doesn't bite as deep. The betrayal still echoes sometimes, James's smirk, Lauren's shaky voice, but it's distant, a memory I've outgrown. I'm stronger than he ever knew, forged in the fire of his mistakes, and that strength is my foundation now, not his shadow. The phone buzzes on the desk, a text from my sister Emily. Saw James at a restaurant yesterday. He looked terrible, hollow. You okay? I smile, a small, steady thing, and type back. Better than okay. I'm free. It's true. Free from the weight of his choices, free from the need to prove anything to anyone. He'd spent years seeing me as the trusting wife, the one who let him handle the details, and he'd forgotten who I really was. I'm Victoria Williams, the attorney who knows property law like a second language, who turned his careless fine print into a weapon. He thought I'd fold, but I stood taller, and that's what he'll never understand. The wine warms my throat as I lean back, the chair creaking softly, and I look out at the city lights, each one a step away from the life I'd planned with him. The settlement papers are filed, the accounts divided, and his reputation's in tatters, a businessman who gambled everything and lost. I heard he's selling what's left, scrambling to pay the tax bill, but it's not my concern anymore. My world's here, in this office, in the cases I win, in the peace I've carved out from the wreckage. I set the glass down, the clink sharp in the quiet, and let the past settle. The dream house was his last play, his final betrayal, but it showed me my own resilience, a strength I didn't know I had until I needed it. My phone stays silent now, no more frantic texts, and I breathe easier, the air clean and mine. James underestimated me, his biggest mistake, and I'm free because of it. Free to build something new, something better, on my terms.